Hi, I'm Joe White. Welcome to Behind the Curtain, episode number 60. Tonight we have Joe Szymanski and Lars Jones, and we will be going over the TV brackets, and we're going to go from round 32 all the way to the finals. We're going to announce winners tonight. We're going to have winners galore. So stay tuned. For those of you who voted, and even if you haven't voted, just want to see what we're talking about. TV shows. You guys started out with 128, narrowed it down to 64, now to 32. Now we're going to talk about those. So tonight, Joe, Lars, are you ready to start talking a little bit about TV shows and the next bracket?
Absolutely.
Okay, we are back, and we have the first winner of our brackets, and we'll talk about the show a little bit later when we get into the finals. But Brady Bunch beat Bewitched. Is that something surprising to the group here or no?
No, I don't think so. I think that was expected.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised it was kind of that close.
Really? Yeah, why do you think it would have been?
I just think every kid grew up on the Brady Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but apparently not everybody liked it, so that's...
Yeah.
I like the Brady Bunch. It was an interesting one. I think when we talk a little bit later about what made the brackets and how we did the brackets and how we could have added 1,280 shows and still miss a few. There was a bunch of people that came in and said, you know, what should have been in the wholesome bracket? And a couple of people came in with a few shows, and I don't know if you have others to add to potentially in the wholesome bracket. It was Family Affair. Little House on the Prairie was in the brackets.
Was in there, yeah.
Didn't make it to the finals. Some people thought they should have. Troop, they thought was more. I don't know if that's considered a comedy or a western, but they thought that would have been a nice one. Somebody had mentioned The Monkees would have been an interesting one for the wholesome
show.
Yeah. And that was the only ones that I saw that people came in with the wholesome shows. Any wholesome shows that you think we missed?
No, I mean, but, you know, define wholesome. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, are we talking just like little kids, you know, are we talking...
Could have been Flintstones.
Did you have
Father Knows Best, or...
Yeah. Did you have Leave It to Beaver on the list originally?
We did not, no. It was a very small bracket of wholesome shows. We had like Waltons, Bewitched, Brady Bunch, Partridge Family, I Dream of Jeannie. I think with a core one there. I might have left one out.
I mean,
Little House on the Prairie.
To Joe's point, yeah, I mean, there's probably other shows from that 50s, early 60s era that may qualify for that wholesome show type thing. I'd Leave It to Beaver. You know, it didn't dawn on me until just now that, you know, that show. When Joe, you mentioned one show, and suddenly it just popped into my head.
Oh, Father Knows Best was one, I think.
Yeah.
Eddie Haskell, who just passed away, the actor who played Eddie Haskell,
passed away, yeah.
Came to mind, yeah.
My Three Sons.
Yeah. Fred McMurray, William Demarest, and before that was Uncle Bub. He played William Frawley was in that. So, yeah, so we could have gone once again, Joe and I were talking before you arrived, Lars, that we could have literally done a 64 or 128 bracket for each one of these categories.
Yeah,
we could easily have done wholesome shows. Somebody mentioned we should have done cartoons, bracket cartoons. Then again, how long do we want to be doing this? We want to do this till December. Hopefully, out of the houses by then. So, all right, so that's the wholesome shows. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that a little bit. I have some trivia on the Brady Bunch when we get when we start announcing the finals. All right, so the next show we have is the Talk Variety Show. I don't know. Can you see on the screen there? The numbers were Carol Burnett.
Yep.
Was pretty much a pretty big win. I think, was that a surprise? 70-30.
No, I don't think so. I think she was the favorite from the opening bracket.
Why? You thought she was going to win it all?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I just think for the type of show it was, for the audience that it had, and probably I think for most of the people voting, at least up against Carson, right? By the time, maybe it's just me, right? I was watching Carson. He had passed like kind of the skit variety kind of thing.
Yes, I agree.
He was a talk show by the time I started watching. And
Yeah,
I presume that's most of the age of the group. So I think he all the skits that he did, I don't really know are all that prevalent in people's minds when they think about Johnny Carson.
Well, I agree with that. Plus, once I get a sense of the overall age of the group doing this, that's where I was suddenly like, oh, yeah, I could see her winning.
Now, was there any competition in that bracket that you felt Carol could have lost to if they didn't match up correctly? Or is there anybody in there or any other show that we didn't have that you thought Carol could lose to?
Off the top of my head, no. Because, as much as some people like Letterman, people also hate him.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there was any show that I thought she was going to lose to, regardless of the matchup. And I can't think of another one I would have put in that would have beaten her.
Oh, interesting. So we'll talk. I have some little trivia on Carol in a little bit. Actually, unless you want to do the trivia on Carol right now, I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, no. Stick to your schedule.
My schedule. I like my schedule. All right. So now those are the two major winners. We'll talk a little bit more about those winners in a bit. The Mystery Detective 6 finalists: Columbo kills Hill Street Blues 80-20. Monk and Miami Vice, very close, as was Charlie's Angels Magnum PI. So the final three were Columbo, Monk, and Charlie's Angels. Any surprise there?
No, not really a surprise. I figured Columbo would win. He won handily. I didn't really think how close the other two would be, but I felt Monk and Charlie's Angels would win.
Okay. What about you, Lars?
I agree.
Now, these three are going to go up against each other. So one of the things we did in this bracket, we said, okay, so we're at a point right now. Let's put the winners together, and we'll have the rest of the voting population vote the order of the preference. So Columbo will go against Monk and Charlie's Angels all head-to-head, and people will vote 1, 2, or 3. Any gut feel on who do you think's going to win out of these three, based upon what you see?
I think it's the order in blue right there, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, we shall see when the voting comes in.
At least it better be that.
And out of the blue, out of nowhere, is Police Story. All right, so that's going to be the finalists of the three mystery detective shows. Drama. I was disappointed here because I was rooting for 24 in this bracket. I don't know about you guys.
Same. Not surprised though. Again, Sopranos has a lot of big fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Mad Men only got 24%. I thought that was a better liked show, had more of a following.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's the one thing. I think most people who watched Mad Men watched Breaking Bad, and Breaking Bad's a superior show.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Breaking Bad won. I just think the margin's a little wider than I thought. I thought it might be closer to The Sopranos in 24.
Mm-hmm. So this matchup's going in. What foursome here did you feel should have been in the final four in drama that didn't make it? Any dramatic show that's here? I'm of these four shows, I think I've seen 24 the most, but it would be the least amount of episodes of any of the final pairings. Like I know nothing about any of these shows, unfortunately. I don't really watch them.
I've seen all the episodes, I believe, of 24, except for that final rip-off type season they did.
What do they call it? Like 12 and a half or something?
No, I watched that. They were trying to bring in a whole new crew of people to replace the 24 people, and it wasn't any good. Like, I don't think Keith Sutherland was even in it. I saw all the Breaking Bad. I've seen some Sopranos. I have not seen an episode of Mad Men. Maybe pieces of clips here and there, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, any show that not this four that you think should be here?
By the way, when you said interesting, it almost sounded like you didn't find it interesting.
What you said?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting that you say that.
He'll fix that in post-production, don't worry.
Okay.
He'll come across much more enthusiastically.
How about this?
A few
Wow,
emojis will pop up, really smiley face, whatever. It'll be good.
that's really interesting one. So
I think you could put an endless list of drama shows.
But what about the ones that we had in the brackets that you felt? Do you think anything in the brackets should have beat any one of these four?
I put Lost in front of Mad Men, but obviously I haven't watched Mad Men, so
yeah.
I
think we ended up having Lost in the sci-fi category. I don't know how that happened.
We did. Looking at the dramas, though, I don't really think there's anything there. The drama. Now that I'm looking at the dramas, because I have on my other screen the original bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think we could have done some better picks to start out with.
Well, that's my question of the day. Is which
I think we went too heavy on the nighttime soaps.
What, Dallas, Knots Landing,
Dynasty, and Dallas. I think maybe one,
mm-hmm.
and then opened it up a little bit to like other types of shows. But
yeah, I like Knots Landing. To me, shouldn't have been on the list. There are better dramas out there than that show. I see picking one of the two, Dallas and Knots Landing. Okay, Dallas is a superior show.
I think what we ended up doing for drama, we had Sopranos, 6 Feet Under the Shield, Walking Dead, ER, 24, West Wing, Homeland, Breaking Bad, Dynasty, Mad Men, Knots Landing, Friday Night Lights, Dallas, Roots, The Wire. Those are the ones that made the original brackets.
Yeah, and there's probably 3 or 4 in there that I like.
And
I think you could argue that there's some other shows can replace them.
now what I got is missing shows was Deadwood.
Yeah,
Firefly?
Deadwood's a really good show.
I like that. Yeah.
Deadwood, Firefly.
Yeah.
We had
I put
West
that in
Wing.
sci-fi though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going through the names of the shows. Black Mirror. We had
Too recent.
Bonanza. Boston Legal. Saint Elsewhere, Macmillan and Wife, Murder, She Wrote, Stranger Things. Some of these were already in there, but these are picking people that should have made it. But
yeah, although I will say, I was a big fan of Saint Elsewhere. I really did love that show.
How'd you like the way it ended?
I thought at the time it was interesting. Mm-hmm. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
To have it be that way, so I thought it was a risk that they took. Didn't really pay off, I think, like they thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
But it was new at the time.
How did it end again? Everybody died?
No, it was in his imagination. This kid was supposed to be, I think.
Oh, that's right.
And it was a globe, and they went.
Basically, he was autistic, and he had a snow globe of St. Eligius Hospital, right? And they left you with the impression that everything that happened during the seasons was just in his imagination. He was just playing with the snow globe.
Yeah, so you see the end and you go, wow, that's really creative. That's really clever. And then a year later, you're like, isn't that just JR thinking the entire previous season was like a dream or something?
Yeah, like Bobby came back to life from Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think they took a chance with it.
It's a great show.
Innovative,
great show. I mean, I think it's a great show. I think it's one of the groundbreaking. Howie Mandel.
Oh, Denzel Washington.
Good. Denzel.
Yeah, that was a show I bounced in and out of, but never really watched it straight through.
All right, so let's jump to comedy and see what we get. I'm sorry, so we'll jump to sci-fi. These are the 2 shows that I thought was going to win. I thought Game of Thrones would beat Star Trek, and I thought Lost would beat Twilight Zone. I thought it was going to be Game of Thrones versus Lost, and I was wrong completely. Not that I'm upset about it, but that's the...
Yeah, and I'm not surprised either. But I think Star Trek wins in the end.
Now, Game of Thrones I'm surprised that didn't. I don't know if
it really ended poorly.
Well, did it really end poorly, Game of Thrones? Is it still going on? I don't know.
No, Game of Thrones is done.
Okay.
It ended so poorly that the spin-offs and prequels that they had all lined up have all basically died.
Did it end more poorly than the people perceived Lost to have ended poorly?
It ended more poorly because with Lost, a segment of the audience liked the ending, and a segment of the audience hated the ending. In Game of Thrones, a handful of morons liked the ending, and the entire universe hated it.
So, what do you call yourselves when you get together? Morons, or do you have a club name?
I hated the ending. It was terrible.
Yeah, you're only saying that now because it's going out over video.
Well, this is
When
This
you're
is going on
live,
record.
it's something entirely different.
It's one of those shows that the first 5 seasons were really good. 6th season wasn't bad, but the last 2 seasons were just terrible. The guys, you just watched a show where you're like, they can't wait to finish this.
I was going through last night when I was doing the preparations for tonight's show, and I was going through some things, and I saw there was a thing that said how many characters were replaced in a show like that played the same character. Talk about the girl from Roseanne, who there was 2 different Beckys, et cetera.
There were 2 actresses, right?
2 different Beckys.
Yeah.
Right, that played there. What I'm saying is, like in Game of Thrones, there was like 15 different actors who played the same character, 2 different actors playing the same role throughout the year because they filmed it in so many different. They couldn't get the same people back all the time. They had to keep replacing them, and continuity wasn't there because they felt the actors were not the same people they would be normally going up against. Just something to consider, and I think they were just trying to get it through and finish it.
HBO went to him and said, "You want to do 10 years?" Weren't happy, and they were like, "Nah, we can do it in 2 shortened seasons." Oh, the 2 last seasons weren't full seasons either.
Yeah, I don't know what a full season is anymore with TV. Anyway, so that's the finalists in sci-fi. But I know we talked about before. Anything missing? I think people said Firefly, Stargate, Fringe. Where is Fringe? Is that on the Fringe? That'd be somewhere. Outer
Fringe.
Limits, Black Mirror. That was already there.
Joe, you liked Fringe. I wouldn't put it on this list, would you?
No, I wouldn't put it on the list. I mean, I think it was fine when it started. I don't think it sustained its
I would agree.
its quality. I think it had a very big audience when it started.
Yep.
But I think that fell off, pretty quick.
All right, so let's go to comedy now. Let's see if it's comedy. I think I remember it to be comedy. Yes, it's the first section. And this is where I say the Fonz beats up on Bill. It was very, very close. 93-7. Happy Days over Cosby. Cheers over The Simpsons. MASH over Get Smart. And Friends Dick Van Dyke was really close. Surprises.
Yeah.
Any surprise there?
No. Maybe Cheers over The Simpsons, but
No,
I had
don't
some
think-
people come in and say that they thought Simpsons was the all-time favorite show of all time, and how it could lose to anything is an atrocity.
the Joe's point about Fringe. I think Simpsons' first 10 years was excellent, but I haven't watched the show in close to a decade.
Mm-hmm.
The new stuff I think is just not good.
And the kids haven't aged. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, they keep replacing them with new actors.
Like Game of Thrones, only in a cartoon.
But then again, I look at Cheers, and I think that's a very dated show. I watched that show, and it, to me, feels really dated.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. I
don't
think Cheers
feel-
is underrated.
Yeah, well, these 4 will make it to the final 7, obviously, because they won their matchups. They'll compete against each other. It's going to be Happy Days, Cheers, MASH, and Friends all together against these 3 shows. My heart breaks a little bit for The Odd Couple because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I thought I Love Lucy would be the Odd Couple slayer.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have been. But whatever.
Unfortunately, I'm with the masses on it. I like The Odd Couple.
So
It's
you're
an
with the
excellent
incorrect
show.
people.
I'm with the incorrect people.
Okay, so you're like a 2016 Hillary Clinton voter.
I'm like, I am a 2016.
You're the majority, but the majority's wrong.
The majority won, though, in this case.
This is a TV show. We're sticking to non-politics.
No, you can edit that out later.
Seinfeld over All in the Family, Gilligan versus Married. Now, I believe this is my impression, but the way they were ranked the way they were stacked is based upon the prior voting. I believe if Odd Couple goes up against Gilligan, it wins. I believe if Odd Couple goes up against Friends or MASH, I think it wins.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm kind of curious about Friends, but I like Friends. I think it's a very good show.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people like Friends. I just don't know how much they like Friends.
Well, we'll find out. We're going to find out in a little bit because this is the finals of sci-fi. This is the finals of drama.
Yep.
And this is the finals of mystery detective, alphabetical, and comedy. So what we have there is the finals of that. So I'm going to stop for a second. Give you guys a chance to talk about what do you think is going to win in each of these categories. I pull up the other PowerPoint presentation that has the finalists and the winners.
Each of the categories.
Yeah.
In comedy.
Can you go back to the categories? So let's just
Sure.
put the slides back up.
The reason I started with comedy is I couldn't remember the other.
Okay, so I will say the comedy category is the 7 of them is we have Gilligan, Happy Days, I Love Lucy, MASH, Cheers, Friends, Seinfeld.
I think I Love Lucy is going to win. And
I think Seinfeld's going to win.
But that's the one I think is going to come in second, but I can see Seinfeld winning. I don't know. I Love Lucy is almost like the original comedy show. That for some reason, I think is aged still pretty well from a show from the early 50s, the mid 50s. I don't know. In a way, it's aged better than Seinfeld because Seinfeld's whole thing was based on the non-existence of cell phones. But Seinfeld's a great show. Wait, Joe has started screen sharing. Okay.
So can you see the whole screen where it says Brady Bunch and says Holcomb Show winner?
Yes.
You see it? So your screen isn't being blocked by that. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that. Okay, so that's the winner of the Wholesome Shows. We talked about it before, but we go there. Let's talk a little bit about some trivia about Brady Bunch. How many seasons was the show on?
Not that long, actually. I'm going to go with 5 years.
I'll say 6.
It was 5 years, and it went from 69 to 74 at 117 episodes, which when I go through all of the winners, it is third in the most of the episodes. Give you that little piece of trivia.
117 is not a ton.
It's not.
It tells you shows that probably hang around too long leave a bad taste in people's mouths.
So question is, of the main cast of the 5 seasons that they've did, how many of them were replaced?
Sorry, you cut out. How many of them were what?
Okay, of the entire cast of the main episode that you see on the screen here, how many of them were replaced with another actor in that 5-year period?
1, Bobby.
Joe?
Yeah, I'll go with Lars.
was more of a trick question. Nobody was replaced in the 5 years that the show was on.
See, he's clueless.
He is clueless, and you went with him on that thing. So Lars is wrong. What he was probably thinking was Jeremy Gilbert's got replaced in the Partridge Family as a young kid because
You're right. You got correct. That's correct.
Kind of threw the curveball at you, but you went down swinging because you like the fastball. Favorite episode that you had on the Brady Bunch? I'll go first, and I'll give you guys a chance to think. And I know that I'm throwing this at you because I had a chance to think about the winners, and I had a chance to think about this, so I will go first on some of these. I believe my favorite episode was when Marsha was doing the driving test and had to beat Greg, and she had to come close to the egg, and she knocked it over, but Greg let her win anyway, which was such a great thing to do. That was my favorite episode. What about you guys?
I liked the Hawaiian Vacation one, or when they went to the amusement park. But I think I like the Hawaiian Vacation.
So just to let you know, from a visual perspective, I can only see your glasses down. You look like this is how you look. Wow. There you go. Okay. Who's the actor that played in that character? Who's the actor? Who's the crazy man in the cave?
Oh, come on. This is easy.
Yeah, spread it out, Joe. This is.
No, I thought it was to him.
Yeah, but he's obviously he got the first one wrong with the replacements. Led you down
Vincent
the straight.
Price.
Vincent Price, absolutely. Found it. So, so favorite episode for you, Joe?
I'll go with Lars on this one. I think the Hawaiian Vacation one. That was one that I thought was interesting. The amusement park one, I like because I like the part where they find the plans.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's running through the park. I think that was really well done.
Yeah.
That was good.
Especially when you had Alice running. I thought that was really they actually got her to run through the park at least for a little bit. So those two. Probably some of the later ones. I don't think I was as big a fan of when they were younger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, was when they started to get older.
Yeah.
I think that's when the show became a little bit better with the kids more involved.
Yeah, 3 to 5, I think, would probably be a better year.
When Marsha's nose got broken with the thrown football.
Marsha. What was your favorite Brady? Growing up as a 13-year-old, I went with Marsha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, Ambi Davis in that maid outfit now, again, just thinking.
She doesn't seem as old as she used to as a kid, though.
Yeah, exactly. She seemed ancient back then, right? Now she's like, she'd be younger than us, right now, taking care of those kids. But Mrs. Brady was not bad too, as I'm growing. But yeah, it was more of the Marsha. Could not stand Cindy. It was something about me. Just the tattletale-ness, and they didn't write much for her anyway, did they?
She's like a Shirley Temple ripoff.
Yep.
Yes.
So here's my last trivia question for the Brady Bunch. We'll move on to the next show. The theme song was sung by 2 different groups. First group, you can tell the name for the first season, and then seasons 2 to 5, it was the Brady Kids who sang the song. Who sang the theme song for the first season? You know the name of that group? If you do, you definitely have way too much time on your hand to know this.
I have no idea.
1969. I'll go with the Monkees.
It was not even close. It's called the Peppermint Trolley Company. So I just threw that in there because I knew no one would get that one right. But okay, that's the Brady Bunch. That's the Wholesome Show winner. Congratulations, Brady Bunch.
Congrats, Brady Bunch.
Move on to the next victorious person, Carol Burnett, Talk Variety winner. Love that. Picture there. How many seasons was this show on?
It really wasn't that long.
Was it longer or less than the Brady Bunch?
I thought it was less than the Brady Bunch.
Longer than the Brady Bunch.
Let me think here.
So, Joe, you say longer and Lars say less. We have time constraints. So we're going to go with that. We're going to go with the Carol Burnett was on for 11 years.
Was it 11 years?
279 shows.
What year did they start?
I have that information right in front of me. 1967 to 1978.
It started earlier than I thought.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't realize it started that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Now I'm remembering. Yeah.
Yeah, once he's given the right answer, now we remember.
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
it's
I'm
all
remembering
clear to me.
how much young she was at the early shows. I didn't start watching until
Probably only watched the last mid-70s and watched it for 5
75.
years, so you probably thought it was
Yeah.
less than the Brady Bunch. But all right, here's a trivia question. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 main regulars over the course of the years. Who was the only one that was there the entire 11 years?
Vicki Lawrence.
You are correct, my friend. If he gets it right, Lars, you get no chance of answering, because I don't want to have you be wrong.
Vicki Lawrence was there the whole time?
Yes. Yep. The only one that was there the whole time. There was one other person there.
Wagner left. Harvey Korman left. Tim Conway was not the original, and Dick Van Dyke replaced Harvey Korman.
All right, first of all, okay, do you see my notes right here? It literally says Harvey Korman left in year 10. Lyle Wagner left in year 7. Now, a trivia about Lyle Wagner. The reason he got Carol Burnett is because he didn't get a starring role in another series that was starting in the same year in 1967 that went to another actor of a show that all three of us really, really liked. Lyle Wagner did not get the role and ended up being on Carol Burnett. What show did Lyle Wagner not get?
Columbo?
Oh.
No, in 67?
Yeah, 67. He did not get it. He went up against one other actor to play the role of a superhero.
Batman.
Batman. He went up against Adam West.
You are correct, both of you.
Oh, they made the right choice in Adam West.
Well, all I'm saying is Lyle Wagner did not get that part, but he ended up being in Wonder Woman years later, which is why he left Carol Burnett to be on the Wonder Woman show with good friend Linda Carter. I've been on our show many times.
I did not realize she was on it from the beginning. I thought she got picked out of the audience.
I think there were some skits in which she gets picked out of the audience as people, when they open up the show like that. But she's been there.
All right, maybe that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And then what surprised me, the two things that surprised me was Joe, you mentioned that Dick Van Dyke actually. Dick Van Dyke came on to replace Harvey Korman. Harvey left after season 10. Dick Van Dyke came on, but only stayed for a few episodes, few shows. Then they ended up bringing Ken Berry and Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet to kind of do that. And then Carol just basically said, I'm done. But what surprised me was that Tim Conway was a regular on the show. I mean, a regular appearance person, but not like a appeared on the show for the first 8 seasons. He wasn't a regular until seasons 9, 10, and 11. But I vividly remember him being on so many times, as if he was a regular.
Because he was a fairly regularly booked guest, but not a regular member of the cast.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about our last show. What's your favorite skit and favorite character from there?
Favorite skit is Gone with the Wind.
But you know what the name of the skit is called?
No.
Went with the Wind. Because they couldn't actually say.
What was it?
Went with the Wind.
Went with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. It went with the Wind. And the reason they did that skit was that NBC aired it the week before for the first time ever in prime time. It was never on TV before. So they did that skit as a mock of that show, Went with the Wind. That one of your favorites, Joe, or no?
Yeah, I like that one. I prefer an older one called The Dentist.
That was mine. With
Tim
Harvey Korman and Tim Conway.
A young dentist. Harvey Korman breaks down during the skit. I think it is hilarious.
Oh, you have to Google that if you have.
If people haven't seen it, find it on YouTube. Watch the full 9-minute sketch. It is hilarious.
Oh my God, it's his first dentist patient ever. And Harvey Korman comes in and it is hysterical. That was my answer to the favorite skit. And my favorite character
comedy. It is hysterical.
Yeah, I think that makes
I've seen it.
It's amazing. Favorite character in the show for me, I love Tim Conway's version of the character. I can't remember his name, but he always used to call Carol Burnett, Mrs. Wiggins.
Mr. Tudball.
Love Tudball. He would walk, Mrs. Huygens, could you please come in here for a second? And then she'd get up there. I love that. Anyway, I digress. So characters, anybody for Carol?
I loved Tim Conway playing the old man. And like there were a number of skits behind that where, you know, at one time he was a doctor, another time he worked in a clocks store, another time he was like a wardrobe dresser when Harvey Korman was trying to change outfits between scenes. I think whenever he played that character, it was funny to me.
That's good. Yeah. Hey, this kind of stuff I love because I'm going to go watch IMDb, The Carol Burnett Show. I'm going to probably Google some of those and watch some of those great. All right, so let's see. Thank you, Carol, for 11 wonderful years, 279 shows. And even though Lars only took you on for 5 years, thanks for the 11. So here is the finalist for Sci-Fi Fantasy, Star Trek, and Twilight Zone. Just quickly, guess, who do you think is going to win this?
Star Trek.
Twilight Zone.
We're going to go to the winners right now. I'm going to let you know that in this category, the categories, we did it lowest to highest. Star Trek got 43. Twilight Zone got 47. It's like golf. It's the lowest. Star Trek, 43. Winner. Wow. That was one of my favorite shows ever. How many years is that show on? And how many episodes?
Too many and too many.
Clearly not a Star Trek fan.
The show's fine. It shouldn't have won. It shouldn't have won even the category.
I don't know. I mean, you could sit there and say the test of time. Movies, spin-offs, even some terrible spin-offs, and it still keeps going, all because of the original show.
So the real answer is 3 years and 79 episodes, which once again is less than the Brady Bunch and Carol Burnett. So Brady Bunch is 117, so in second place right now. Favorite episode of the show? The show may not have any.
I'll pass.
I like the episode Sutton Terror. It's when they're going up against the Romulan ship. They're cloaked.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of the show.
And it's called Terror?
I thought it was the Sutton Terror.
The Balance of Terror? The 14th episode of the first season. Directed by Vincent Everly. Doesn't really say what it's about. Balance of Terror. Enterprise versus size. The response when a Romulan. Yeah, that's it.
I think it's the only episode where they actually do the Romulans.
A Romulan ship makes a destructive, hostile armed probe on Federation territory. Balance of Terror. First day of December 15th, 1966. My favorite episode. There's so many of them, but City on the Edge of Forever when they went back in time. And wonderful Joan Collins was there, and they had to let her die so that certain people didn't get into power.
Yeah. I know Joe doesn't like the show, but so many sci-fi shows have stolen stuff from this show. And not just the simple structure of the show, but just the storylines. It's just, a show before its time.
And one thing I would say that the entire starring cast, who's your favorite character, by the way?
I gotta admit it. Scotty, when I grew up as a kid, was my favorite character. But I'd probably say Captain Kirk now.
Joe?
Yeah, Kirk.
I'm gonna go with Kirk. But one thing I did have a problem with is I'm reading through the story a little bit. Each of the characters' development, they're all human with the exception of Spock. Everybody else was human, and that was a main character. Never like they were Scottish and African American, a doctor, Russian. They were all human. I think later on in the shows they kind of added more like robotic people and Romulans and Klingons as part of the crew. I think at that point in time they may have had some of that, but maybe not. Maybe it takes a little bit longer.
I mean, the makeup's not there though.
All right. So I'm going to give you 2 trivia questions. First one's going to read off 5 names. And I'm going to ask you to tell me which one of them was not a guest star on Star Trek. Not a guest star on Star Trek. Frank Gorshin, David Soul, Ted Knight, Jill Ireland, and Vic Tayback. Once again, Frank Gorshin, David Soul, Ted Knight, Jill Ireland, and Vic Tayback. Which one was not a guest star? And as we wait, the correct answer from Joe and the wrong answer from, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go with,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you froze, Zoom freeze, or you were literally just thinking. I wasn't sure.
Come on.
I'm going to go with David Soul.
Joe?
I will go with the 4th name you said.
I said it was Frank Gorshin, David Soul, Ted Knight, Jill Ireland, and Vic Tayback.
Jill Ireland.
Jill Ireland was incorrect. And David Soul was incorrect.
Vic Tayback.
The correct, no, Vic Tayback was in it as well. The correct answer is Ted Knight.
I was going to go with Ted Knight, but I sat there and said, well, that's too obvious. It can't be Ted Knight. It's got to be somebody else. Who is David Soul?
Well, David Soul played Memory Makora. I'm going to pull this up to the screen. I don't know if anybody can see it. And where's the camera right there? He played that character.
Not really, but kind of.
Let's
Hang on. I just got to.
Anyway, the name of the character was it was Star Trek episode number 38 called The Apple, and he played this character. Was David Soul played Makora in episode number 38. Makora. And
it was the Apple. What was the storyline?
The name of the storyline is there's a paradise in Gamma Triangle. The people are immortal. There's no war or need to have a war, but they sustain. A computer is even manipulating the weather for their well-being. They're serving the machine, which is built like a giant serpent, by feeding it with stones and loaded with energy. They call it Vol. As the ship's energy is drained, Captain Kirk and Spock and others beam down and meet a friendly, shy people in the environment. Blah, 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 and they try to rescue them. The guy in the red shirt dies. I think that's part of the synopsis.
Yeah, I mean, I knew who what character. The only one character I knew was the Frank Gorshin one.
Yep. Vic Tayback played some sort of. Jill Ireland was. Can't remember her character, but she was.
Who's Dick Tate? Well, I don't know that actor. Why am I not picturing?
You know what it is, Joe. You know who Vic is.
Yeah. In Alice, which I know you didn't like, he was Mel.
Yeah, I knew he was. He was the bartender in the Troubles with Tribbles.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, second trivia question, so we can get on to a category Joe may like. There were 3 people who played Catwoman in Batman, TV show and movie. Which 2 were on Star Trek and which one wasn't?
Well, one of them played a Klingon, I think, actress. The third, the third Catwoman was on Star Trek.
Give me names.
I don't know the names.
I'll give you 3 names. It was Lee Merriweather, Julie Newmar, and Eartha Kitt.
Eartha was on Star Trek. The first one, I'm going to guess, was also on Star Trek. So the second one wasn't. Hang on, I got to do something real quick. I'm going to drop off.
So it's either dropping off.
Yeah.
He's going to check the answers on the questions. So you can't drop off now because the category that you're speaking to next is I need you.
All right, hang on. I'm just got to do something.
Okay, he's leaving. All right. So so Joe, do you know the answer to the Catwoman question?
Well, I think Lee Merriweather's right. And I'll trust him on Eartha Kitt. So I'd say I think he got it right.
You got to stop trusting me. I tell you, I don't know why. Julie Newmar was in it. Lee Merriweather was in it. But Eartha Kitt was not.
Yeah.
Eartha Kitt was not in Star Trek. So, okay. All right. So we move on from Star Trek. Thank you very much. Bones, Spock, Scotty, over Kirk. All right. We got the next drama. Breaking Bad versus The Sopranos. As I mentioned before, I know nothing about either one of these shows other than the fact that one was about a guy named White making drugs, and the other guy, Tony, who was a mob boss. That's my extent of the knowledge. Who do you think is going to win this?
This is a battle. This is. I know you guys haven't seen Breaking Bad. Is a rarity in a TV show. I could probably sit there and say, in all its seasons, it maybe had 2, 3 wasted episodes. High level every season. Storyline was fantastic throughout. But The Sopranos, I mean, I've seen it. I have not watched in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why people love it. That ending, it's a love it or hate it ending.
Yes.
What do you think's going to win, Joe?
Breaking Bad for me.
I'm going to go with The Sopranos.
Drama winner. Breaking Bad. Actually, it was. What was that?
The scores?
Breaking Bad 40, Sopranos 47. So it won by a bigger margin than Star Trek over.
Yeah.
But Lars, the only thing I know about the show is that it was on for 5 seasons, 62 episodes, less than Star Trek, less than Brady Bunch, and a lot less than Carson. That's the lowest number of episodes to win a category. But it just goes to show that more isn't always the better. Sometimes people stay on for too long, but never they tell their story good enough. So, you think it's well deserved?
Fantastic spinoff.
Which is what? Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul is a phenomenal show.
Yep.
Not as good as Breaking Bad, but it's one of the best spinoff shows I've seen.
But isn't it a spinoff that's a prequel?
Correct.
Which
and they're pulling it off.
Now, it's funny. Do you watch Breaking Bad first before you watch Better Call Saul, or do you go?
You watch Breaking Bad first.
You think you're going to get more out of Better Call Saul before you watch Breaking Bad?
Correct.
Well, I'm looking at Breaking Bad, thinking 62 episodes. That's something I could do probably, a couple of weekends. But I don't know. Have you seen any of these shows, Joe? Breaking Bad or Sopranos? Or
The Sopranos mostly. I didn't really watch Breaking Bad.
Yep.
That's why I went with what I knew.
Yep. I don't. I'm gonna move on to the next category because I want to make sure we can cover mystery detective. We got Charlie's, Columbo, and Monk. Who's gonna win this puppy?
Columbo, Monk, Charlie.
We may lose Joe after this, but we'll see.
Yeah, Monk won, huh? Oh no, there you go.
We did his percentage-wise. Columbo got 33% of the top votes. Monk was 16, and Charlie's Angels got 7%. Columbo wins. Once again, this show lasted many years, so it's difficult to tell you how many years it was on. Its first episode was 1968. It's close that Lyle could have been Columbo, I guess. And it went all the way down to 2003, the last episode. And how many episodes were there in Columbo?
Wait, say that one more time?
How many episodes do you think Columbo made in those years from 2003 all the way back to 1968? How many episodes?
170?
Oh, God, no.
I don't know.
I wouldn't go with that one, Joe. I'd go with a different number.
You want to go higher, Joe? Higher.
I'm going to go like 80.
That's a good guess. 69. And it struggled to get there because it went on. The original core ones were like in the high
Yeah,
50s.
they brought it back late in the 90s. Yeah.
Yep. And it was originally part of a thing called
The Sunday Night Mystery Movie.
on what channel or network?
CBS.
NBC.
NBC. Don't ever listen to Lars. Okay. You remember any of the other ones that it was paired with?
The
McLeod?
Villain and Wife and McLeod.
Mill and Wife, McLeod, Heck Ramsey,
Heck Ramsey was it?
Banachek.
Yeah, I mean of the shows, yeah,
Snoop
sure.
Sisters.
You had the
yeah.
Snoop Sisters.
Yeah.
You had Banachek, their personal favorite.
Yep. George
Um,
Papard, right?
before the 18.
All right. Quick question: favorite episode and favorite killer of Columbo?
I can't say I have a favorite episode or killer.
Oh,
I like the one. There's a couple. I like the one with Robert Wagner owns the health club.
mm-hmm.
No, that's not his name.
Robert Conrad.
Robert Conrad.
Yeah. Robert Wagner's the one who killed Natalie.
And the one with Dick Van Dyke when he's the photographer.
Both very good. They're very good.
So I think
Very
actually, I think those were like back to back, like same year. I think they came out, and the episodes were back to back. But two of my favorites.
Which killer did you feel the most sorry for?
Oh, it's Donald Pleasance.
Yes.
He
Yes.
was on the winery with his brother.
Yep.
At the end, I just.
Yep. And they were
it's
drinking
just
the
a good
bottle of
job
wine.
at
Yeah.
making you like him and want him to succeed and the winery to succeed. That when he gets found out at the end, it's just kind of like,
You have an amazing memory. I just looked up the Columbo episodes. It was 1974 where they had the Robert Conrad episode, an exercise in fatality, and then
Yep.
Dick Van Dyke was negative reaction. Back.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. You knew that. My favorite episode, I don't really have. There were so many different ones. I love the William Shatner one when he was the fake TV detective one. I always found that
Yep.
one enjoyable. Like anything that Jack Cassidy was in. I find him a perfect
he, I think, is
killer.
my favorite killer because I love how he plays the part. Like he really gets into the kind of back and forth.
And that was
with
funny.
Columbo during the questions and whatever. I think he was the best villain. Multiple appearances.
Yep. I didn't mind. There were so many different ones, but here's a trivia question. Who's the only character / killer that Columbo did not arrest in all the episodes? He didn't put him away, put him under arrest. Did not
I thought
arrest.
it was a female, wasn't it? Character.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
It was.
I forget the actress's name. She was that, like the older actress. Was it Janet Leigh who played the part?
You are correct, sir. Janet Leigh.
He just kind of
Forgotten
left
Lady.
her. Yeah.
Forgotten Lady. And the symmetry about that show, the actor who played the guy who got into a car accident and he lost his career. And remember, they were both dancers. And she
She was always watching the old movies of them dancing.
Exactly. The actor who played that role was the man who played in Miracle on 34th Street. He played the young husband who.
Oh, the lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. And he literally had a car accident and his career derailed because of it. So that was one of his comeback roles. So I always found that episode, the connection of that story was interesting. So if you ever watch that show, just look up the actors that were in there and what they've played and a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
Really interesting. That was actually a great episode. What song does Columbo always whistle in every one of his episodes? He always whistles it, or it is played when he's getting his criminal, getting his victim.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really noticed.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny because it's one of those things. It's This Old Man. He plays this old man. Every single episode's either he's whistling it as he's coming in doing something, or he's playing around, and every single one of them is it's a little hidden gem that not a lot of people know about Columbo. You can see I know more about this than I did about Breaking Bad. And here's the last one. It should get this one easy. What was Columbo's dog's name?
I have no idea. Didn't
I have
have
no
one.
idea. He did have a dog.
He did have a
Columbo's
dog.
dog's name.
Barney.
Ooh. Lars comes out of nowhere and gets another one wrong.
Woohoo!
Fred.
Think of what Columbo would have called his dog.
Sergeant.
Me and my wife, we couldn't figure out a name to call him, so we just call him Dog.
Dog.
Just call him Dog. Thank you, Peter Falk. Once again, it's one of my favorite shows of all time, Columbo. I'm so glad that puppy won. All right, we move on to the next seven shows. Cheers, Friends, Gilligan, Happy Days, I Love Lucy, MASH, and Seinfeld. Oh, memories. I've seen every one of these shows. I've seen probably every episode of Cheers, Friends, MASH, Seinfeld, Gilligan, and Happy Days. I can't say I've seen every I Love Lucy, but has anybody not seen any one of these shows?
I probably have seen every episode of every one of these shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same.
All right. Quick question. Which one of these shows did not get a first place vote? The other six at least got one first place vote.
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan did not get a first place vote. Good. Yep. Who do you think is going to win this?
I'm going with I Love Lucy.
I'm still going to stick with Seinfeld.
I think it's one of those two.
All right. So I'm going to reveal the scores. The worst scores of Gilligan came in 7th. Happy Days came in 6th. Lucy came in 5th, but it had the second most first place votes. If weird, either it was very well loved or it's very well hated. Not hated. It ranks 1 to 6. MASH came in 4th. Between Seinfeld, Friends, and Cheers. Very close race, all three. The winner is Jerry Seinfeld. And with a 12% vote, Friends came in 2nd, and Cheers came in 3rd. Very close race.
Really? Cheers, huh? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you're underrating that show.
Yep.
I can't abide your hatred of that show.
And you shouldn't have it.
I'd be curious if you asked everybody who voted, when's the last time they actually watched Cheers? And I swear, I think most people are going to be like, well, I haven't really seen it, but I loved it when it was on.
I'll tell you what, sir. We'll ask that question when we go out to the results of the show. I'll show them what. So oddly enough, I'm going to give you some quick trivia on this, but just out of curiosity, does anybody own the complete series of Brady Bunch? I do.
I don't.
Carol Burnett? I
No.
don't. Star Trek? I do. I know, Joe, you don't.
I don't.
Breaking Bad?
No.
Columbo? I own every one. So I own every one of Brady Bunch, Star Trek, Columbo, and Seinfeld. Amazing. And I had nothing to do with the result. All I tallied them.
Well, now we know why they were in the brackets, though.
Well,
Yeah.
Lost would have won if favorite episode.
Wow.
That's tough.
I'm gonna go.
I've got to go for the one that really pulled me into the show is the Chinese restaurant.
That's mine. That's mine. Cartwright! Cartwright! I called your name. You said Cartwright. Name's not Cartwright.
Oh,
What was that, Joe?
differences, because that's an earlier one, and it's fine. It's not my favorite. I prefer much when they went more over the top. The Contest is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think that one's hysterical.
I'm out.
You'll be out before we get the check.
Oh, what I love was the parking garage too, where the lady's carrying that fish, walking all over the place. I think Chinese restaurant lured me in that this show is going to be something special. These are the people I want to see each week.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe. Underrated one for me is I love the puffy shirt
Yes.
because the second story in that is George being the hand model. And that's where you find out. He's like, you don't have to worry about me. I won a contest.
Here's some trivia for you. There's only 3 shows in the history of television that ended being the #1 show ever. Seinfeld is being one of them. It went out with being the ranked #1 TV show of the season, and it retired.
Wait, what show did you say? Seinfeld being
Seinfeld.
one?
Yeah, Seinfeld was one of the 3. So it was the first one to do it in 38 years, and the other one was 47 years before that.
Wait,
What 2 shows went out #1? Both
38.
comedies. Both comedies. One in 1951 and one in 1960, where it ended.
1960. In 51.
One of the shows that were in the final brackets.
I Love Lucy?
Yes, went out as #1 in 1951.
Wow.
I
And the
I
other-
thought it was
That's
on a little
surprising.
longer than that.
I'm
The other
surprised
one-
at that.
The other one was 1960.
1960.
Yeah, gotta
The
double-
Honeymooners weren't on still, were they?
I gotta double check my year ending. I think maybe that'd been the year that it was. Anyway, the show starred a character that ended up being a lawyer later in his career in TV.
Later in his career, the character, or the actor,
The actor, yep.
character, the lawyer.
Yep.
Andy Griffin?
So those are the only 3 shows that ended their seasons as #1 and their show went off the air. All right, quick question. Here's a quiz. I'm going to give you a list of 4 names twice. You tell me which one was not a guest star on Seinfeld. Bryan Cranston, Courtney Cox, Jon Favreau, and Will Ferrell. Bryan Cranston, Courtney Cox, Jon Favreau, Will Ferrell. Which one was not on Seinfeld?
I'm going to go Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
I know
I'll go
Bryan
with Will Ferrell.
Cranston was the dentist, I think.
Yep, he's an anti-dentite.
Yeah.
You say Will Ferrell too, both of you?
Yeah, it's between
Yeah.
him and Favreau because
Yep.
Courtney Cox was one of Jerry's girlfriends.
Yep, and it was Jon Favreau was also part of Seinfeld, so the answer is Will Ferrell. Good answer. Here's another 4. Terry Hatcher, Ray Romano, Christine Taylor, and Sarah Silverman. Which one was not on Seinfeld? Terry
I'm going to go
Hatcher,
Sarah Silverman.
Ray Romano, Christine Taylor, and Sarah Silverman.
I'm going to go Ray Romano.
Joe, once again, you got to listen to what Lars says and go against it. And Ray Romano is the correct answer. Terry
Sarah
Hatcher was-
Silverman was on there?
Yep, she played. I don't know who she played. I just saw her at watched the episode. Sarah Silverman, Seinfeld.
Didn't realize she's been around
in-
for
Yeah, she was in
20 years.
season 3. The Sarah Silverman on the Changing. She was ever on Seinfeld. Yes, she was known for a stand-up comedy. She was in the appearance called The Money. Shark Ton comedian played Kramer's girlfriend Emily in a 1997 episode of the show. She's one of the lucky few that hold this honor. Her character is known for Jimmy the Legs, what her name was. So, and here's the last trivia question of the night, and I think this is going to be difficult for anybody in the planet to get. Who had the most guest appearances on the show? Guest appearances on the Seinfeld show.
What, I don't know, qualifies as a guest. Like, does Putty qualify as a guest or?
But he would qualify any one of the non-4, the
Anyone
non-big
of the
4, anyone of the
non-4.
non-4 who's been on the who's had the most appearances on the show ever. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. You can give me the top 5. I think you can get 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw Putty as one of the top 5.
Okay, you could listen to Love Jones all you want, but
No?
nope.
Oh, wait.
Newman.
The parent, the Mr. Costanza, George's dad.
George Costanza, Frank Costanza is tied for third place. There's 3 people tied for third place. Joe, I heard you say
Newman.
Newman is actually number 2 for appearances.
Really?
Yep.
Somebody beats Newman.
Yeah. The other 2 that are in there, obviously, Frank's there. Is probably his wife Estelle was there.
Yeah.
She was in there. So
Yeah.
Frank and Estelle were in the same number of episodes. Newman was second.
Newman.
And the other one that was tied with Frank and Estelle was a girl that was in the show for a few years, and then they killed her off with the stamp issue.
Susan.
Oh, Susan, yeah.
The
But you still
number
have somebody
one-
beating all 4 of those.
You got somebody beating all 4 of those.
More than Newman, huh? Well, there's Jerry's mom. I don't think she was that many.
Wow.
Jerry's dad.
It's a trick, not a trick question. It was not somebody you would probably really know, but once I say it, you're going to go, oh my God, that's
Like some trivial background character.
very much so. But had a line in about 110 shows of the 180.
Well, they went to the restaurant. They didn't constantly have the same waitress, did they?
Ruthie was the counter person.
Ah,
She played in over 100. Ruthie Cohen
Wow.
played Ruthie, the waitress there. She would just sit there and go, and they would just talk to her. She would just walk by. She'd give glances. She 110 plus episodes.
you know, I never noticed that. I always assumed they just hired anybody for those roles,
Mhm.
that role.
No.
That's
Makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah, she's technically 5th most appearances behind the Big 4, which is basically the number 1 appearances of a star. So what do you guys think? Do you like what we did here? You like the shows? I don't know if the results met your criteria, but what do you think?
It was good.
Fun?
Yeah, it was fun. Of course, fun.
Well, I appreciate your time, your effort, and once again, I don't know what we're thinking about doing next, but I'm thinking take a break from brackets for a bit, but I don't mind having maybe thinking about doing a show once every so often. Talk about some things. I'm
Yeah.
interested in sports. I'm interested in movies and TV and anything. If you guys are interested, keep me posted. Let me know. Thank you so much for being a sounding board, Joe, and Lars. Thank you for being almost on time.
All right. Can't ask for more than that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
So,
that's the best compliment you've gotten in years.
Did you
It
you
really
guys have fun?
is.
Did you guys have fun doing this or no? What do you think?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, listen, thanks so much for taking your time out of your busy schedules. And I actually had to comb my hair for this stuff and put on a shirt. But we'll see how that all goes. All right, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate it. And thanks, everyone.